All right. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning. I'm Dark Polago. Thanks for joining me on another morning watch list building session. Today is April 21st, 2022, and we're going to find some stocks and options that are going to make a greater than expected move today. And yes, I am late. So, my bad. Something happened with my alarms. As a matter of fact, they were turned off. So, what did I just do here? Just a second. What is going on with YouTube? Oh, I'm signed into the wrong stinking Google account. 1 second. Let me get signed into the right one. There we go. All right, so there's a bug flying around here. It's driving me nuts. Now let's try this again. Try this again. Hmm. There we go. Jeez. So yeah, my alarms for some reason were turned off, and I just woke up like 15 minutes ago, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? All right, we are good to go, and that's it. Let me get this out of the way, and we're gonna jump into it. So, it's gonna be kind of an abbreviated stream. Um, ooh, 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 Spotify in the news. Yes, sir. All right, let's get to the futures, and then we will, if we have time for news, we'll get into it. All right. Overnight and yesterday, nice moves, right? We kind of expected that, though. Looking at the daily and what we were set up to do. Here we go. All right, so yeah, we've been on this streak, right? We reached up and tapped the 200 yesterday. Did not get a close above the 50, and then the 21. Then we gapped up. Pre-market, we're above the 200 now, so the 45.40 is going to come into play as long as we can keep that strength and momentum going. Right, this is a nice move on the 4-hour. This is yesterday. We got that crossover, right? Pre-market, we're above our skyline. Bull flag breakout, right? Strength and momentum, we have both. Okay, going into today, you can thank Tesla for this, right? You can thank Tesla for getting up and above the daily 200. I'm going to be interested to see what happens when this 50 touches or tests this 200. If we can get the 50 curling up and the 200 curling up on the 4-hour, then I think we can get a new high today, right? That's what we're going for. We got a previous high coming in at 45.19. The 4,500 calls on SPX yesterday paid super well for everybody that played those. So 618 retracement, Snowline coming in at 45.40. I think that's definitely reachable target today. So I'm bullish on ES as long as we don't give up, right? Like truly give up. We didn't get a 30-minute close below the 50, so we could get some pullback, right? which would make sense, pulling back to support, making sure it's still there, and then we get that nice move up. Okay, that's it, the ES. So look for any of those your favorite SPY stocks, right, to move pretty well today. Checking out the NQ, which is a little bit different setup. Remember, the NQ has not overtaken the 50 or the 21 yet. Like we got, we tested it, right? So going back to Monday, doji. Tuesday, test the 50. Wednesday, quick up and flush. Or that was Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's Thursday. Yeah. So we will be retesting the 50-21 move. Like I said, I kind of want to wait till we get clearly defined direction like we have on the ES now before I go super heavy on tech stocks, especially in the NASDAQ. Now, from a 4-hour perspective, right, there's that 200. Let me move this. All right, so just so I get my things straight here, I think this pink line is, all right, so this 50 day, right, and the 200 day are pretty much at the exact same level. So this is the key level, 14,225 to 1434 or 234, that little range there. Above that, right, a close above that, and I think we've reverted the downtrend, right? But this could be a head and shoulders here, right? So let's just be careful with the NASDAQ, at least for another day or two. Next week, NASDAQ could be super bullish, but I'm not trusting it right now. Okay. So the SPY, QQQ, right, in and out, like, or up and down like a roller coaster, in and out like a cold shower. Yeah. Anyway, looking at the YM, the Dow. The Dow's done the thing, y'all. Remember, we talked about the Dow being super strong, but being cautious until we got over the daily 200. Okay, well, we're above it, right? Now we start looking for, is there a pullback to support coming up? Very possibly could be. Very, very possibly could be. If we were to run some fib levels, like some real Fibonacci levels, not these little minor ones I had here. Let's look at it from a fib extension from low to high, back down to low. Perfect 618 retracement, right? These dotted lines are now in effect, taken out, making a new high. Target, snow line 127 fib extension. 36090 is my target for the Dow. Do we get a pullback to test support? Like, is this the move that we're gonna have happen here? Let's get this out of the way. Let's get a couple, let's get a close above previous highs. And I think that is a pretty decent move. Okay. Today is Thursday. I know yesterday, and the only reason I knew that is I remember yesterday being Wu-Tang Wednesday. So yeah, skyline to snowline, that's the move. Skyline support, we're looking at 35,100 area, as low as 35,067, 35,010. There's a lot there, right? And yeah, so just be aware. On the way up, we do have previous high over at 35,700 or 35,740, right? Just look at your 30-minute chart as your guide, and as long as the structure remains valid, right? That's a nice move. Hit the 21, test the 21, test the 21, keep moving. It's like, I don't know if you've ever taught your kids to swim or anything, But what they'll do is they'll move out a little bit and they'll reach back, make sure you're still there, right? It's kind of what the Dow is doing, right? Just it's moving, but making sure that it does have that true support because it's gotten shaken out before. Okay. Next up would be the red-headed Russell, which has been kind of leading the market, right? Believe it or not, the old Russell has been leading the market. Now, we are at my 1414 extension from this move here. I'm going to leave that up for now, just so that we can see. Okay, we do have a 2150 cross down on the Russell, and the 200 is way up here, right? So rotation from small caps into the SPY or the Dow, very possibly. Rotation from small caps into Tesla, more than likely. Tesla had blowout earnings. We'll get into that in a minute. But then here's the deal, right? The same setup. So this is a move that I tracked, right? From this low. Oh, maybe I was off a little bit. Maybe we have a little bit more to go. Yeah, we're there. I like the 1414 extension. I think it hits a lot more than the 127, right? It gives you a little bit more space. But upside 2068 is target, but we are coming off of a tree line. Tree line to snow line is the pattern, right? I'd be really interested to see what happens when this 21 hits this 50, or 21 hits the 200 on the 4 hour. Let me throw a line on there so I know where the 4 hour 200 exponential or simple moving average is. And we're just going to call it that one, right? So that when I pull up my 30-minute chart, you can see that we came right off of it, right? We used it, use that little range, right? Let's just call it probably more accurately there, okay? There we go. So we've got bullish 30-minute, decision making 4 hour, right? As far as an extension goes. And then what happens when the 21 with this 2150 here on the daily. Now the daily 21 is more of a magnet and more of a, has more gravitational pull than these lower time frames, especially really low time frames. Okay, all right, gold should be pulling back, right? Since everything else is moving up, gold should be resting, right? Be super interested to see what happens when gold hits the 50-day. Last time it hit it, it bounced, right? As soon as we got above it, the one time we came back and tested it, we rallied up off of it, right? So we'll get another one of those tests today. If it holds, we could be super choppy in gold, but if it fails, then we need to reevaluate gold futures to see what's going on. I need a drink. Hold on. All right. 4 hour, we gave up the ghost, right? So you could short gold futures, right? Because there's a move happening, right? There's a move down to, you know, previous levels, 1920, right? So rotation from gold into equities. All right, so everybody sees that and understands it. Okay. This should mean that the, whoa, what? Was that shop really the whole time? I'm gonna say, okay, we'll get into Shopify later. All right, gold, crude, right? The doji has me concerned, right? As well as this 618 or 382 perfect pullback, right? So that level is there for a reason, right? I haven't ran this one, but I bet you they line up. All right, so it's a 50% retrace. So we may have an update in crude, right? Which is okay, right? So look at it from a 4-hour. I mean, we got the flush, so something caught it down here. This demand zone's pretty tight, or still pretty liquid. So, and then 30-minute. I mean, it's kind of followed my Elliott wave move down, unless I had it wrong. So with this being the one, all right, 1, 2. This being 3. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. All right, but like I said, I would watch for look for an inverse head and shoulders. This tree line's super strong, right? So tree line, skyline, skyline, snow line, right? Reject the skyline, retest tree line, come back down to snow line. Okay, all right, and then the yen, right? The yen finally has had, a couple of up periods before disaster, right? This is like we are at that level where reversals happen. So on TradingView, if you have their default volume with the 50-day, I've noticed that anytime price action hits these levels, it gets a reversal. And I don't know if it's just it's weird. Like, I've never really studied volume that much, but it's just kind of weird that every time it hits it, we get a bounce. All right. Back to the ES. All right, let's get into the news real quick. How am I doing on time? What the heck? All right. I don't know if you guys follow the weekly watch list, but there's been a couple bangers off of it so far this week, which I'm super proud of. Where's my magic codes? Right there. A couple bangers this week I'm super proud of. One of them was TTD early in the week, right? It's a nice move there, 60 to 70. The other one was low, right? I told you after their dividend day, they can get moving, right? 190, 198 to 210, and that's a pretty good one. You just have to admit, Amazon was on my list, but I didn't share it. Pretty good move the last couple days. Splunk is the only one I'm really a little concerned with because it's been flat. And Baba was the other one that I'm a little concerned with it because it's been to the downside. Now, with those plays, I gave you all ups and downs, right? I give you both the upside and the downside. Hopefully you took advantage of the side, right? Okay, let's get into it. Spotify. So Spotify's gonna have a down day today. This is kind of adding insult to injury. The news that they got overnight that the Obamas are going to leave Spotify. They seek a multi-million-dollar elsewhere, according to Bloomberg. That's like into earnings. That's got to suck, right? So Spotify. Can't believe this used to be out of my price range, and now it's just chilling daily bottom monthly bottom, right? Right, monthly bottom is support. It may come back and test it again today. So 120, 120, 121 is support. You know, things want to retest the 21 EMA. So 132 would be the target. Spot will move. Okay. LRCX had earnings. They missed. So that's Lam Research. AT&T had earnings. They actually came through and beat on their earnings. One second. AT&T with a nice move. They are a staple in the dividend community. I don't understand what's the deal with them lately, right? But as far as opportunities, I mean, this looks pretty decent considering the SPY's going to have a good day today. Watch AT&T for continuation on. Above 1975, I think we get a move to 20, and then trade that weekly cloud up from 20 to 2050. I don't understand what's going on. This used to be a $35 stock. Yeah. Anyway, definitely way better earnings than they expected. All right. So oh, the Dow had earnings. Dow Inc. Just kidding. In healthcare, nothing really there. I mean, there's a bunch of earnings. I just don't have time to go through all of them. Just looking for names, big names or key names that we usually play. All right, this is important. CVX downgraded to sector perform from outperform at RBC. This is that rotation out of oil into other things, right? So they got downgraded. XOM got downgraded, or XOM got upgraded to outperform from sector perform from RBC. Now, Johnny has been talking XOM for the last couple days, right? And we kind of knew what was, oh, interesting. Was it XOM? I thought it was something else. Oh, all right. Anyway, they got upgraded. Where's the Tesla earnings? Where are they clumping Tesla in now? Consumer? Yeah. So Tesla blowout earnings, we need to keep an eye on. Sympathy plays from Neo, right? Lucid. Lucid's probably the one that's got the most breakout potential. If it gets above its 200 day, so Lucid long above 2150, right? For a move to 22, and then 22 to 25. Lucid's got potential, right? So watch sympathy plays from Tesla earnings on them. Also charging stations, so like Blink, ChargePoint. Okay. Carvana shares are down 5%. Looks like they gave them all back, and they give it all back. Interesting. This is one that we've been watching in the group. Scott's Miracle Grow. The whole night and the whole fertilizer industry. Stay away from it till it gets above 121. Then play 121 to 128 on Scott's Miracle Grow. That's just, yeah, it's just got too much confusion until then. Okay. United Airlines had earnings. Shares are up 3% on an upbeat outlook. So this will help move the entire airline sector, but keep in mind we got a weekly top at 51.40, so about $1.50 away. American Airlines should be moving with them in sympathy. Southwest Airlines. Play the ETF Jets, right? Like, I feel like it's toward, everything is kind of coming up towards the top of some major kelp levels, so be aware. Okay. Plays in the news said in a filing that Kevin Sheehan will have his current position as interim chief executive extended indefinitely until a permanent CEO is appointed. That leads, that gives structure and stability to a company, right? Knowing that they've got, that they can work around their CEO. Okay. All right. In world news, the bull bear spread for America for AAII weekly survey was -25 versus -36 last week. Bulls rise 18 up to 8. Bulls are up to 18% from 15. Neutrals 37 from 35, and bears fall to 43 from 48. So the weekly survey says that people think the market is being more bullish. In China, President Xi said global economy recovery is fragile and weak. Efforts are needed to stabilize global supply chains. China's economy is resilient, and the sound LT term hasn't changed. China will still open the economy. Countries should stop their Cold War mentality and avoid confrontation. China is opposed to one-sided sanctions and decoupling and shutting off of supply with pressure tactics by any country won't work. Vladimir Putin said Russia has liberated Ukraine's Mariupol, apart from a massive steel plant, which he ordered blockaded. Kiev has called for urgent talks to save the lives of fighters and their civilians in that city. Eurozone March CPI Eurozone March CPI plus 2.4% for the month, plus 7.4% for the year. Core CPI at 1.2% on month, 2.9% on year. And the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has asked the Justice Department to move forward with an appeal of a ruling that lifted travel mask mandate. So the CDC is coming through saying we need to protect ourselves still. I would follow what they say. When it comes to that stuff, they know more than the 7 people that's sitting on a bench, right? All right, earnings after close today. Sam Adams, right? That's always a fun one to watch because they can move big, right? This used to be a $1,500 stock, remember, and it has fallen from grace. Okay. ISRG, right, is another fun one to watch. They have earnings today after the close. Okay. That's it. There's no big boys. There's no black swan events coming through. For the bill, American Airlines did have earnings. Bancorp, Sanofi, MMC. So, all right. Stocks and stock futures in the U.S. pointed to a higher open, currently trading at overnight highs after the tech-heavy Nasdaq declined Wednesday following Netflix's first drop in subscribers in a decade, setting shares down over 35% and pressuring high multiple tech growth stocks. EV maker Tesla shares surged overnight more than 7% after Q1 results, and most S&P 500 sectors ended higher on Wednesday, led by industrials, transports, healthcare, defense, including utilities, staples, and REITs. Transports look to a good start today, as well after airlines. United Airlines provided an upbeat outlook for the next quarter, and CSX Rail results topped estimates. U.S. 10-year Treasury yield hit high around 2.98%, but has since reversed and is now down the 2.87% area. In Asian markets, Chinese indexes resumed their slide as the yuan hits a fresh 6-month low after President Xi's speech, right? The Nikkei index jumped 1.23%, Shanghai fell 2.6%, and the Hang Seng fell 262 points. In Europe, the DAX is up 175, the FTSE 100 is a little changed, and another busy of corporate earnings on deck as we just start heating up, while investors get a moderate dose of economic data with weekly jobless claims coming in and Philly Fed survey and leading indicators. Bitcoin prices are up 2% in a bounce back week, while the buck takes a breather. Absolutely. Okay, here's the events for today. Right, none of those happened. Well, some of those just happened. Let's see what we got. This is not so good. Manufacturing index was at 17.6 instead of 21, which is down from 27. Unemployment claims are actually up. So what's happening is we're not producing anything because people are unemployed, right? We have Powell today at 8 Eastern. Wow, Natty Gas coming in, Powell, Bailey. Actually, Powell, he's down at 8, he's on at 10. Yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be horrible. Dang it. One thing, rule of thumb: never short ahead of Powell. There's just a rule of thumb. Don't go short ahead of him because you'll get sucked into it and trapped. Okay. I've got these two different charts going on here that I've got to. All right. From a daily watch perspective, then we'll get into the flow index. Okay. XO inputs below 87.27. Yes, I will look at those. Let me get a broker fired up here so I can look at actual options contracts. Okay. So Apple, AMD, ready for this? Nvidia. Tesla. We have a new stock on our weekly watch list, and that is going to be Square. Right, Square, SPY, QQQ, and then SPX. So this is my daily watch. These are stocks that I watch every single day. I will rotate through between like Square and Netflix and Goldman Sachs, but on the advice of a trader that I know and respect. Holy Tesla, man, that's just a crazy move. What's interesting is they're only up about 30 points from where they opened yesterday. Okay, so they had a really bad day. Remember I said that support's coming in at 970, 973 to 975. And actually I think I had it at like 980, 985. So a little bit off, a little bit looser, a little more loosey-goosey. Now, don't short ahead of Powell, just knowing that the market's going to rip going into Powell, okay? But he's on it twice today. 8 Eastern, 10 Eastern. So be aware. Okay, let's get into it. So this is a flow index. This is a smart money dark pool and block trade algorithm software that we use to track large institutions, hedge funds, and smart money's dark pools and block trades. We look for divergence. We look for the flow index, which is this purple line, to be heading in one direction, while price, which is the green bars, are heading in another direction. We have these red lines, which are regular block trades, and these blue lines, which are dark pool block trades that come in and provide support and resistance and key inflection areas. Now, if you ever see a white line across my screen, then you better call me because it's a good time. But in reality, I'm just joking. What it means is that there's a regular and a dark pool level that have printed on top of each other. Those are major inflection areas. Put them up on your chart. Look what happens when price interacts with those levels, right? It's like magic, but it's really not, okay? So the first people here in the morning get their first choice, and it looks like Johnny was here. Morning, Orlando. Morning, Johnny. What's up, Nard? Andrea, Terry, good morning. DJ, good to see you. It's been a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, my viewers' requests first, and then I'll get into the ones I want to look at for the day. So we're going to be looking at Walmart, American Airlines. He wants to recheck low, since it's from the weekend watch list. And we're going to look at Uber. Interesting pick on Uber. Wondering what brought that on. Have you been watching that show on I can't remember what broadcaster does that, but it's very interesting. The Uber, very, very interesting. Okay. All right. So looking at Walmart. Walmart is a war staple. Walmart also had some news the other day with Plug Power. Plug was set to provide like 500 tons of hydrogen to them, right? Something like that. What we have here is we've got price action trading with the flow index. Divergence has been traded out, and we're just trading 1-to-1. See how the flow index is making a series of higher highs, and the price is following along with it. All right. We do have some white line levels on Walmart, which are important to mark up. That's the 151.02 level, 154.24 level, and then there's this cluster that runs about 150, just all of 157, right? That is a major inflection area. There's a ton of regular and dark pool block trades at that level, and that's why it's previous resistance. We gapped up through it, okay, and now we're trading at regular block trade level 159. Looks like we hit 160.27 and trying to form a little bit of a head and shoulders there. So if the flow index can make a new high, a higher high, which it hasn't done yet, right, and a higher low, this isn't a broadening pattern, but it is kind of a bullhorn, right, which can lead us to extreme moves, right? So volatility is there. I'm not really sure on Walmart what's helping it move or why it gapped up. I haven't seen any news, but yesterday it did gap up, and right, a little bit of a bull flag breakout to failure. I'm looking at this as possible head and shoulders. Going to keep an eye on, see what the flow index has to say, since we did cross up and over, but that divergence is traded out, okay? And now we're just trading with the flow index. Does that make sense? Divergence has occurred at 159.79. Price came down to 159.25, reverted to that area because the flow index was pulling it back up. Okay, I'm not going to get into how smart money gets into their positions, but just know that if you had a $50 billion order and you dropped it on the market as a market order, it would immediately run up and down the dime, eating up all of the liquidity, because there's just not 50 billion worth of shares sitting at a market order. What would happen then is you would attract other investors to come in, and you would create a quick artificial flash increase until investors realize that there's no liquidity up there, and they're going to start bidding you lower. Price will come down to that liquidity level where other investors are interested in buying into it, and you will end up in a negative position. So to combat that, smart money has to scale into their large positions as price is coming down, right? And that's where we see, let's see if I can give you a good example here. This move right here, for example, smart money is buying into this position as price is coming down. They're still buying into it, right? They're still buying into it to a point where they believe there's a fair value and a reversal area. So we had divergence that occurred right at 157. Price came all the way down here to what is it, 152, and then smart money started selling out of their positions, right? They're selling in, they're providing shares for this move up. They're providing liquidity for this move up. So this move up here back from 152 to 157, smart money selling out of their position, right? See how they're doing that? They're selling out of their position as the price is coming up, right? Till that point of divergence has been met, right? And they've got, what is it, a $6 profit, right? At a average cost, which is probably somewhere here in the middle. So they've got like a $3 profit per share, right? They've 3 times their money, right? With only risking 1 time. So they do a, maybe a 1.5 R negative R to a 3 times reward. So they're risking down to here. Does that make sense? Hopefully y'all can start seeing that. I don't have time to go a lot further into it, but that's just how smart money works. That's why we track the flow index. Okay. American Airlines did have earnings coming out today, so as you know, I do not trade anything related to earnings other than maybe some sympathy plays. So we do have the flow index is trading 1-to-1 with price action, as you can see here. We got a little bit of bullish divergence, right, that occurred. So what, 19? Let's just call it the $20 level. I haven't seen what they've done pre-market, but we have dark pool levels up to 1993. White line levels at 1970, 1960, and then massive levels of support down here at 19. Okay. So gap, plateau, gap, pullback, rally. Okay. I think I went over a little bit earlier. If they can break out of 22, there's a move to 25, right? They've got strength, conviction, and a good earnings move on them. However, American Airlines is considered a small cap. I don't know if it's part of the SPY or not, but right, remember what we said when we looked at the Russell, there may be that rotation into the SPY or the Dow. So I think American Airlines is part of the Dow transport. So yeah, I would look for any pullback, right? Remember we had a double move here, up, plateau, 1950, 2050, 2050 to 2150, right? Dollar increments, but we did have a pullback, okay? So keep that in mind, keep a fib level on it, and mark the weekly top at 2150. Outside of that, we get pretty explosive, okay? Flow index at the close of, as of the close of yesterday, was bullishly diverged. Let's see if any of that traded out, right? Keep in mind this is an up move, right? And this is just flow index trading 1-to-1 with price action. Okay. Yeah. So next up on our list is lows. So low from the weekly watch list. We had divergence, right? That divergence has traded out, and now we're just trading 1-to-1, right? The flow index is pulling price action up with it. Look for key resistance levels. At 210 is a psychological level, as a previous high, previous low. Above 210, we've got a trading range that goes up, whatever the ATR is, and I can't remember if it's like 7 or something like that. But if we can get above, 210.25 on low, then I think that we can make a move. Yeah, this is a nice move pre-market. Let's go, buddy. Here we go. Yeah, so we are at previous high. Look for a 1, 2, 3 Wu-Tang reversal. So if we can trade this zone here, the 210 to 214 zone, right? Be safe, 210 to 213. 213 to 217. Okay. Looks pretty decent. I would look for any pullback to support. Use these lower time frame Celts. 15 bottom, maybe 60 top. Bounce, so a move off of 208.25, right? Or potentially 208 itself, right? Below 208, I think we have a move down to 206, 204, right? 4-hour supports at 208.28, right? Let's just call it 206. That's a big move down. Yeah, throw some fibs on it. Watch what happens at the bell for low, okay? All right, and then next up is XOM. Or Uber, sorry. Armando, I did not see XLK in there. I apologize. Let me get that in there. I'm looking for all caps, and when it's not in all caps, I have a tendency to overwrite it. So I apologize about that. Let's look at XLK. XLK, flow index is trading. Oh, let's look at the 15. There we go. We've got a little bit of bullish divergence, and the flow index is trying to make a higher low and higher high move up. If you notice that the flow index is kind of channel trading, right? Where we've got this little channel right here. See how the flow index goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back. So now we're on an uptrend. And as it's coming up, it will pull price action up with it, okay? So 1, 2, 3, Wu-Tang reversal off a dark pull support, up to the next dark pull, up to the next dark pull, pull back, okay? So now what we're looking at is how the flow index is moving up, and so is price action. I would look for a move above 150 psychological level, right? So 150, 151, then 152. That would fill this gap. All right, that would also be a move up to these regular blocks. We've got these white line levels, so magnet 158, right? But we've got to get through 153, 154. From 154 to 158, pretty easy breezy sailing. There's a nice trading zone that runs there, but you know the flow index is in an upcycle, right? Falling channel breakout on our 15-minute chart. From a 1-minute perspective, right, we are trading with price. Large influx of capital came in, and a little bit of this channel breakout that I was talking about, right? Right, channel breakout is what we're looking to have happen. So above 150.50. 151 is the first target, and then above that, I think we get super long. Okay, that's XLK. And then let's look at Uber, XOM, SNDL. You want to look at Sundial again? Okay. All right, Uber. So do you see the difference between, or what I'm trying to show you here? Where XOK was more of a clean channel, right? Uber is looking more like a broadening pattern or a megaphone. Typically these are bearish. We did wick up, so our next stop would be to the move back down, testing lows. Okay, we have a white line magnet at 31.98. There's also some blocks that came in here. We've got some blocks that came in at 33.99, so 34 on the high end, 32 on the low end, and a variety. This is the last 1 day of blocks, right? So all right, we've got some blocks down here that looks like we gapped up through, right? I'm not sure what sector Uber falls in, but from a pattern perspective, we need a down move. The flow index is pointed down, right? As you can see here. So if we start making lower lows and we take out this liquidity zone right here, right? Start taking out that level, this zone right there on the flow index. Then I think Uber pulls back down, right? Makes a higher low, comes up, makes a higher high, higher low, and this megaphone just keeps expanding, right? So that's it for Uber. All right, let's look at XOM. Sundial, which is a fun penny stock to trade, right? We got a little bullish divergence. I like it, especially with, I don't know, I'll have to keep it, we'll look into that a little bit more. I'll look at SPY and Shopify. Yes, Shop has been, I just started trading Shop last week. I made a killing off of it early in the week, and then it just moves weird. The options contracts are, the spread on them is gappy and it moves funky. But if you're good with a little bit bigger bid-ask spread risk, it's a fun one to trade. Okay, it's at some key levels, so we need to get it. I'll go a little bit more into Shop. Okay, all right. So XOM, no blocks are coming in on XO or on Sundial. All right, so XOM. what we have here is a classic case of bearish divergence, right? Smart money, like I said, they started scaling out of this position as price is coming up. As soon as they find a good value area, right, price will revert and come back down to this divergence level. It's just a matter of where that divergence occurs. Does it occur at 82.59 or 83, right? We've got a massive amount. Let me just whittle this down. All right, so this was yesterday's block trades. This was today's. Price action is, right, it's moving, it's maintaining some trend lines. So that trend line is valid. It's kind of a channel, wouldn't you say? Okay, so this is I'm pretty bearish on it. If it doesn't take out 88.86, I'll get back here. The 89. Let's just call 89 resistance, right? It could very easily chop in here. Because right now price is trading with the flow index, and there's that divergence, right, to here. Yeah, so divergence down to 84. White line level 86.75. Right, there's the line in the sand. So we may get a little bit of a fade to here, right, which puts us out into today sometime. So a little pullback to here. Below that, I think it's pretty quick drop back down to 84. Okay, and you wanted to look at the puts below 87.27. Puts below 87.27. 87.27 is, looks like the weekly top. Is that what you're looking at, or is it previous low? I mean, there's a big move down to 87.27, right? All right, so we went 4-hour bottom to 4-hour top, top to mid, mid to top, right? So 89.23 is resistance, right? It hit that level and immediately pulled back. 87.27. So if we pull back to the 4-hour mid, that'll be the 21-day EMA on the 4-hour. Below that, I think we flush to the 4-hour bottom, which is 86.83, right? And there's this big zone that runs the weekly cloud, right? 86.83 down to the daily mid, weekly bottom at 84.50. So knowing what I just showed you with where those block levels are, right? You got white line support at 86. 86.75. It's so hard to read. 86.75. Oh, right where that line is. I don't know where I drew that line from. I can't remember, but there's a line right there at 86.78. That's that white line support, I guess. It's also the 4-hour bottom. Okay. So if we do get a pullback on crude today, right, that's a move. So I like puts below 88.50, to be honest, or 88.48 for a move down to at least 87.85, right? So yesterday's highs, use that as support if it breaks that. So it's 15 top, 15 mid, 15 mid, 15 bottom, 30-minute bottom, 60-minute bottom, right? Down cycle. Alrighty. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, previous low. All right. SPY. I went over ES on our futures section. The flow index is making a series of higher highs and higher lows, right? Any of this previous bearish divergence is traded out. The price is trading with the flow index, right? Got a large influx, and we're going to continue to move on up. Now, there's regular blocks at 447, 446.95. That's your line in the sand. Above that, it trades its zone up to 450, which is a psychological level, and above 450, see how it got super woody right here? This move here, dang it, I'm out of time. Unfortunately, I'm out of time because I've got to go stream for the bullish bears in the morning, right? But that's the move. Watch the flow index continue to make higher highs and higher lows. Yes, I will look at Shop before we go, okay? All right, so Shopify. It's interesting is that there's only one regular block trade in the last day, and that's coming in at 526.33. There's a dark pull level at 715. All right, this came in on March 30th. So that goes way back here, right? That goes to here. All right, so the flow index is, as best as I can tell, has broken support, right? And is moving back down to this block level. So a rounded top flow index means that we're going to start scaling out of any positions that we have, which may look for, oh man, this is just nasty. Yeah, so the flow index is just trading 1-to-1 with price. All that previous divergence is traded out. I can't remember what's causing this, but it's pretty bad. There's a real potential for Shop to backtest the bottom of this 4-hour here, which is coming in at 540, right? Backtest the 4-hour bottom and make a larger move down, right? So I would load up the 510 puts, right? Below 510, we hit 500 psychological level. Below 500, and it gets super nasty. Okay. So if we backtest the 4-hour, right, which would be, 540. 543. So this low from the other day, right? If we backtest that and reject it, then we get a pretty gnarly move to the downside. All right, let's see what that would look like. So Fib is saying we could retest 552, even as much as 570 before we move to the downside. But I think a 4-hour, let's just say this, if it gets above 543.75, there is a move to 561, right? And then possible reversion there, right? That'd be the bouncing off the bottom of the daily. So we could reject 543.73. We could reject 552. We could reject 561. Now, where do we go from there? Well, I have a downside target of 503 and 492. Okay. Shop is 530 pre-market. I've got Shop at 538 pre-market. 539, you're right. Okay. Right. mean, all I can go with is where my Celts are and what fib is showing me. I've got a 4-hour 21 EMA at 575. If you want to wait for a retest of that, you know, that's also another key fib level. I don't know what's causing Shop to drop like this so much. I just know that we can bounce off the bottom of the 4-hour and make a money shot move to the downside, or we can rip up through the 4-hour, back test it, right? So make a move up to 561, back test 552 for support, right? And then make another move up to the 21. So there's two ways about this. All right, typically we will see something like this, where we back test the key Celt and make our move down, right? This happens all the time. Or we can, you know, if this then that, right? If this then that, or if this then that. There's just two ways about it. Like I said, as far as levels go, 570, right? Well, yeah, 570. Let me try that again. Sorry, I apologize. Above 543, we test 553, 560, right? If we reject 543, 75, then we look at 525, 500 psychological, 5, and then 492, right? Those are my levels to the upside and the downside. Okay, I'm not seeing anything that's giving me like Shop's going to make this massive rally. There's nothing down here to support it. Okay. All right, I got to go. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dark Bull Algo. Everybody have a great day. I will see you all in a few. I'm definitely running behind. Did we hit this block? 525 dark pull that came in yesterday at the close. We closed at 525. Or are we trading at 525? Yeah, we closed at 525 yesterday. So there's a dark pull that came in. If it's a buy order, depending on how there's, oh, it's a regular block. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Let's see what that block. Let's see if they bought that yesterday. So a $55 million order came in at the close yesterday at 525. So 105,000 shares at 525. It's at 530. 539. That's a big move, right? That's a $15 move at 100,000 shares. You know, that's $1.5 million trade if it's a regular block and it's an order, right? They bought those shares, they can start selling them, right? So that would cause a move down. Alrighty, I gotta go. Thanks for joining me. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay safe, stay green, and hit me up in the chat if you have any questions. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications.